Have you ever walked into a room and felt the air shift, not because of your entrance, but because of the assumptions it carried with it? In the heart of Velmora, inside the radiant glass walls of the Dallimore estate, the annual Luminary Hearts Gala was in full bloom. Chandeliers dripped with crystalline light, casting a shimmering glow across a sea of satin gowns, tailored tuxedos, and curated smiles. The South's most lauded elite had gathered here tonight, not just to donate, but to be seen donating. Every name tag was a statement, every laugh a currency. And then she arrived at the edge of the opulence. A woman in a plain olive gown moved like a whisper through the marble-arched entry. No diamonds, no designer label, no entourage, just a solitary presence wrapped in quiet confidence. Her name was Ilaris Dorn. To most in that hall, she didn't belong. The host's assistant, a young man in a silk vest, paused when she stepped forward. His eyes darted from her simple dress to the glowing guest list in his hands. "Are you with catering, or?" Ilaris offered a polite smile. Ilaris Dorn, listed under general admission. He blinked, flustered. Her name was indeed there, though tucked far from the VIPs and legacy patrons. "Ah, yes, of course. Right this way, Ms. Dorn." She entered the grand ballroom without fanfare. The hush was subtle, like a string pulled tight. Conversation stuttered, then resumed. Eyes flicked toward her, then away, too practiced to gawk, too curious to ignore. Lady Ventia Dulace, heir to one of Velmora's oldest shipping families, stood at the foot of the grand staircase, flute of rose champagne in hand. "Who invited the woman in green?" she whispered to Roselle Vane, whose couture clung to her like smoke. "No idea," Roselle replied. "No press wears shoes that sensible." Behind them, Cylindramar gave a faint, knowing smile, but said nothing. Ilaris drifted toward the donor displays, models and renderings of the new Eastridge Pediatric Recovery Center. She studied them like someone seeing more than blueprints. Her eyes lingered on a sketch labeled Kinetic Garden, Mobility Track. Her hands remained folded, her posture unshaken by the glances and whisper-frosted curiosity brushing her shoulders. "She doesn't have a name tag," Ventia murmured. Her voice dipped in velvet judgment. "Perhaps she's one of those background stories the planning board likes to sprinkle in, adds drama." Cylindra finally spoke. "If that's drama, it's wearing the wrong dress." Ilaris knew this language. Black woman, modest dress, alone. They wrote her identity before she ever spoke. But she hadn't come to be acknowledged. She came to observe, to remember why this building, this night, this cause even mattered. As the quartet began a lilting Aurelian piece, Ilaris stepped deeper into the crowd, invisible to most, irrelevant to many. She wasn't here to take the room. Not yet, because none of the glittering patrons swirling their wine, posing for curated candidates, knew the truth. The woman in the olive dress didn't just support the project. She was the project. And the moment that truth came to light, this room, with all its powdered power and legacy wealth, would never view itself the same again. As the night unfolded with engineered elegance, Ilaris remained a silent tide beneath the sparkle. She stood before the illuminated scale model of the recovery center, fingertips brushing the braille-like labels along its edges. She had walked these same spaces weeks earlier, not as a guest, but as a listener. Children had told her what freedom would feel like if their bodies could move again. She'd turned their dreams into designs. From across the ballroom, Ventia watched her. "She's staring at those plans like they mean something," she murmured. "Maybe she's a therapist," Roselle offered, "or a consultant. I heard they're involving more local voices lately." Ventia's eyes narrowed. Strange choice for an invitation. At that moment, Dr. Halari Vex stepped into view, chief architect and medical strategist for the Eastridge Center. Her presence sliced through the crowd like purpose incarnate, and when she spotted Ilaris, her face softened with warmth. "There you are," Halari said, embracing her. "I wasn't sure you'd come. I promised," Ilaris replied, her voice quiet. No spotlight, no name, just truth. Only Halari and the Foundation's finance board knew her identity. Ilaris had given anonymously, avoiding praise, declining recognition. Every proposal bore no signature, just the word vision. Halari leaned closer. The east-facing therapy windows. The sensory loop path. They're being prototyped this week. You should have seen the children on the foam track mock-up. They raced each other. Within earshot now, Ventia blinked, Hilary Vex didn't fawn. She didn't flatter. Yet here she was, glowing. Ventia stepped forward, a smile sheathed in curiosity. Dr. Vex. So good to see you. And this must be? Hilary turned. Ventia, meet Ilaris Dorn. She's been instrumental in every step of the center's vision. Ilaris extended her hand, plain, unadorned. Pleasure. Ventia grasped it lightly. Are you in pediatric medicine? Her tone was sugar-laced steel. Ilaris smiled. Something like that. And just like that, the cracks began to form in the marble veneer of the room. Cracks that would only deepen as the night unfolded. 6 months later, morning light poured across the newly opened Eastridge Pediatric Recovery Center, casting soft rays on the butterfly sculpture perched near the entrance. Its wings shimmered with purples and golds, just like the drawing Ilaris still kept in her notebook. Children zipped through the sensory paths, laughter spilling from the adaptive swings and shaded ramps. Wheelchairs danced between murals, chalk trails, and blooming sunflowers. The space breathed with life, purpose, and freedom. Ilaris stood by the butterfly path, watching as the girl with the sunflower clip, Mira, raced ahead, her motorized chair weaving through painted arches. Her giggle echoed, unburdened and bright. It was exactly how Ilaris had imagined it, in the quiet corners of hospital rooms, when children whispered their hopes. A shadow approached from behind. I didn't think you'd come, said Ventia, now dressed not in polished satin, but soft linen. Her heels traded for flats, her tone lacking all pretense. Ilaris glanced at her. I came for the kids. Ventia nodded, folding her arms. I thought about what you said. A lot, actually. About the center shifting. About who gets to belong. She looked out at the garden, the children playing. It's different seeing it like this. Not on paper, not as a photo op. Just real. Ilaris didn't smile, but her posture softened. That was always the point, not to inspire applause, but to create something that didn't vanish once the cameras did. I joined a board, Ventia admitted quietly. A real one this time. Advocacy for accessible public education. We're starting small, but I'm listening more now. Learning. Ilaris studied her face. There was sincerity there, yes, but also struggle. Growth never came easy. Good, Ilaris said finally, because legacy doesn't come from money. It comes from showing up when it matters. Just then, Mira rolled back toward them, waving a small notebook. Miss Ilaris. I drew a new one. She held up the sketch, this time a bird in flight, high above a garden that looked very much like the one behind her. Ilaris crouched beside her, eyes shining. It's beautiful. Mira beamed. You said I'd fly one day. I think I'm starting to. Ventia knelt slowly beside them, looking at the drawing. That's incredible, she whispered, her voice catching slightly. Ilaris rose, turning toward the garden once more. This, she said, gesturing to the space, to the light, to the laughter, was never about who gave the most. It was always about who believed the most. The center had shifted. And this time, it wasn't moving back. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows of the newly opened Eastridge Pediatric Recovery Center, casting a warm glow on the pastel walls and smooth, wheelchair-friendly paths lined with native flowers. What once was just a name, Levi's Light Garden, had become a sanctuary. Here, joy and healing weren't just ideas. They were part of the design that the garden's edge. Ilaris gently placed a hand on the shoulder of a young boy, his legs supported by sleek carbon fiber braces. They'll hold, she said softly, nodding toward the balance beam. That first step always feels the hardest. The boy gave a small nod, then began his careful walk forward. Inside the atrium, excitement stirred as final touches for the dedication ceremony came together. Volunteers arranged chairs, adjusted ribbons, and helped the children's choir find their places. Among them was Ventia, sleeves rolled up, helping a girl with Down syndrome feel at ease. No designer clothes or flashy presents, just calm kindness and a simple blouse. Through the glass, she met Ilaris' gaze and gave a small, respectful nod. It no longer came from pride or social standing, but from something real. Since the Luminary Hearts Gala, Ventia had been reckoning with herself, watching the footage from that night, reading Dr. Hilary Vex's old emails, and seeing photos where she smiled beside women she barely knew. It had changed her. She realized how long she'd measured people by standards she never even questioned. During the ceremony, Director DeLoqua spoke about spaces built not just with donations, but with purpose. Children learning to walk again, not in sterile rooms, but beneath sunlight and sky. When the ribbon was cut, for children held the scissors together. Their faces lit up, full of awe and pride. The applause thundered, but Alaris was watching the children, not the crowd. Later, near the butterfly arch, Alaris stood in silence, watching wings flicker in and out of view. Ventia joined her quietly. I've stepped down from 3 committees, Ventia said. Now I'm working with Dr. Vex to support families who are often overlooked. Alaris raised a brow. And how does your circle feel about that? Ventia smiled faintly. Some think I've lost my mind. But I told my husband I don't have time for board meetings anymore. I'm too busy being useful. She hesitated. My daughter saw the gala photos. She asked why I looked proud next to women I never listened to. She asked why the one helping the children stood alone. Alaris paused, watching a girl reach toward a butterfly. Gently, just understand, we're all rebuilding, she said. The question is whether we stay behind the walls we inherited or create something better. Ventia's voice shook. You helped me choose the latter. Thank you. Alaris placed a hand over hers. Then we both gained something. Behind them, the children's choir began to sing, voices lifting like morning light, carrying through the garden. And Alaris smiled.